Hello and welcome to the Codex Addendum video for, I think it's the fifth, the fifth Dragon Age Origins video. I'm going to read through the Codex because the lore in this game is huge, and I think it's really important to kind of keep up on what's going on with it. So let's see what we collected in this video. Bear. No beast is more beloved by Dirthaman than the bear. When the world was new, Dirthaman gave one secret to each creature to keep. The foxes traded their secrets to Andruil for wings. The hares shouted theirs to the treetops. The birds sold theirs for gold and silver. Only the bears kept Dirthaman's gift. Deep within their dens, they slept the months away in the company of their secrets and nothing else. When Dirthaman discovered what had been done with his gifts, he snatched the wings from the foxes, silenced the voices of the hares, and turned the birds into paupers. But the bears he honored for their steadfastness. And this is transcribed from a Dalish tale in 9-8 Dragon. So, Dirthaman and Andruil are elven gods. Dirthaman is the god of secrets and knowledge, I think, and Andruil is the goddess of hunting. Normally it is almost unheard of for bears to attack travelers. They are, in fact, so shy and so inactive during the day that most people never encounter a bear at all. However, should a bear be provoked, they are remarkably dangerous. The normally placid-seeming creatures become enraged and can strike massive blows with their paws, capable of knocking a man off his feet. Alright, that was the only creature we got. Let's see what magic we got. The Imperial Chantry. There are those who would tell you that the Chantry is the same everywhere as it is here, that the divine in Val Royeaux reigns supreme in the eyes of the Maker, and that this fact is unquestioned throughout Thedas. Do not believe it. So Val Royeaux is in Orlais, which is a neighboring country that that Ferelden was at war with not too long ago. But Val Royeaux, again the capital of Orlais, is where the divine, who's like the head of the Chantry, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so the Chantry has the head of the church, which is the divine, kind of like the Pope. And the Pope, or the divine, stays in Val Royeaux, which is the capital of Orlais. Alright. The Maker's second commandment, magic must serve man, not rule over him, never held the same meaning within the ancient Tevinter Imperium as it did elsewhere. The Chantry there interpreted the rule as a meaning that mages should never control the minds of other men, and that otherwise their magic should benefit the rulers of men as much as possible. When the clerics of Tevinter altered the Chant of Light to reflect this interpretation of the commandment, the divine in Val Royeaux ordered the clerics to revert to the original chant. So Tevinter is the Tevinter Imperium is another country that mages are free and welcome to do as they please. It's ruled by mages, pretty much. So that's why, of course, they would conveniently make it so that magic was okay in the eyes of the church, but looks like the divine is not okay with that, and she commanded them to revert to the original chant. They refused, claiming corruption. Oops, I lost my place. Claiming corruption within Val Royeaux, an argument that grew until 487 towers. The Chantry in Tevinter elected its own legitimate and uncorrupted divine Valhale, who was not only male, but also happened to be one of the most prominent members of the Tevinter Circle of Magi. This black divine was reviled outside Tevinter, his existence an offense to the Chantry in Val Royeaux. After 4 exalted marches to dislodge these rebels, all that the Chantry in Val Royeaux accomplished was to cement the separation. While most aspects of the Imperial Chantry's teachings are the same, prohibitions against magic have been weakened and male priests have become more prevalent. The Circle of Magi today rules Tevinter directly, ever since the Archon Nomarin was elected in 734 Storm, directly from the ranks of the enchanters, to great applause from the public. He dispensed with the old rules forbidding mages from taking part in politics, and within a century the true rulers within the various imperial houses, the mages, took their places openly with the government. The Imperial Divine is now always drawn from the ranks of the first enchanters and operates as Divine and Grand Enchanter both. This is utter heresy to any member of the Chantry outside of Tevinter, a return to the days of the Magisters which brought the blights down upon us. But it exists, and even though we have left the Tevinter Imperium to the mercies of the dread Kunari, still they have endured. Further confrontation between the Black Divine and our so-called White Divine is inevitable. And this is from the Edicts of the Black Divine by Father David Carinus, 811 Blessed. So, that's what the Imperial Chantry is about, which is the Chantry in the Tevinter Imperium, not anywhere else in Thedas. Alright, what else do we have? The Sacred Ashes of Andraste. Only one person witnessed Maferath's betrayal, Havard the Aegis. A childhood friend of Maferath, he accompanied his chief to the meeting with the Tevinters, not realizing what was planned. When he understood that Maferath was giving Andraste over to be executed, Havard, unwilling to draw swords against his friend and liege, placed himself between Andraste and the Tevinter soldiers. The Tevinters struck him down, and Maferath left him for dead. Gravely wounded, Havard made his way to the gates of Minrathous to stop the execution. When he reached it, the terrible plains long since dispersed. Havard, cursing his weakness, gathered the earthly remains of Andraste that had been left to the wind and rain, and wept. When his fingers touched the pile of ash, his ears filled with song, and he saw before him a vision of Andraste, dressed in cloth made of starlight. She knelt at his side, saying, "The Maker shall never forget you so long as I remember." I feel like we've read this before. The song faded and the vision with it, and Havard was alone, but his wounds were healed. With new strength, Havard took up the ashes of Our Lady and bore them back to the lands of the Alamari. Fearing that Maferath's supporters would defile them, Havard took the ashes of Andraste to a secluded place high in the mountains, and there he carved from the living rock an urn to hold them. Time passed, and the whereabouts of the urn faded from memory. Perhaps it was the Maker's will that only the most worthy should find his beloved's final resting place. Now we have only the legends, such as that of the Chevalier Lothaire, who quested to find the urn to save his dying daughter, and either found it in the time to cure her, or returned 100 years after her death. The ballads end less than certain on that point. From Thedas, Myths and Legends by Brother Genitivi. Alright, so Maferath was Andraste's husband, betrayed her out of jealousy, got her executed. Havard kind of not protected her, but he tried to, and he created a place for her ashes. And they are a mystery. Alright, let's see. Characters. We have Arl Eamon Guerin. I think we've already read this, but it was added that he fell ill with a mysterious condition that even magic could not treat. Alright, now we have Liliana, who is our new companion, the redhead. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace, and in that stillness I could hear the Maker. A lay sister of the Chantry who can beat the stuffing out of trained mercenaries would be notable enough, but one who also claims to have been sent to fight Darkspawn by the Maker himself is unusual, to say the least. She joined Alistair and Sarin in Lothering, insisting that she could prove useful. Alright. Books and Songs. Adventures of the Black Fox. Born Lord Remy Vascal in 863 Blessed, the Black Fox was a dashing thief and a rogue who went on to inspire so many tales of his exploits that it is nearly impossible to determine today which are true and which are merely fabricated legend. Despite coming from nobility, he has become something of a hero to the common people. His initial exploits involved ridiculing the tyrannical and powerful Lord of Valchevin. Wearing a mask, he would appear in public and disrupt the Lord's plans to the point that the Lord angrily put a huge bounty on the life of his cunning fox, the origin of the nickname which stuck. That the primary bounty hunter who took the job, Carolus, ended up becoming Remy's lifelong partner in crime, only after nearly killing him several times, is one of the most popular tales told in taverns today. The story is often exaggerated to make Remy appear initially buffoonish, until Caroline becomes so furious at the Black Fox's inexplicable ability to survive that the cunning Remy gains the upper hand, which impresses Caroline so much that the bounty hunter joins him. After years of terrorizing the Lord's men and foiling his tax collectors, a favorite pastime of Remy's, according to the Orlesian commoners, Remy was supposedly betrayed by his lover Servana de Montfort, in some versions of the tale a mage of the circle no less, and captured. After more than a year of torture, Remy was rescued from prison by his compatriots, including a repentant Servana, and together they escaped Orlais. In this period of Remy's adventures, he appears almost everywhere in Thedas. As his legend grew, more innkeepers and merchants were happy to claim that the Black Fox had visited their village or establishment and performed some legendary feat. If the tales are to be believed, Remy led the Lord's men on a merry chase. He became embroiled in political intrigue in Navarra, was hunted by the crows of Antiva, and then kidnapped by a powerful mage in Tevinter. In each situation, Remy escaped death at the last moment, foiled the evildoer, and improved life for the poor and downtrodden. Then, inevitably, he rejoined his band of adventurers and moved on to the next land. His companions, Caroline and Servana, the wise dwarf Bolek, and the tempestuous knight Sir Clementus, have each spawned their own individual legends over the years. The stories all agree that at some point the Black Fox disappeared. He and his fellow adventurers voyaged into the heart of the Arlathan forest, seeking the sunken city of the elves, and never returned. Many more are the tales that expand on what ultimately happened to them in that forest and postulate on how they could someday be rescued. This is from The Adventures of the Black Fox by Gaston Girault, 911 Dragon. Alright, and here's the first Blight, Chapter 1. So, the Blight is what's happening now, where the Darkspawn rise up, rallied by an archdemon. So let's learn about the first one, which is really important, I think. Alright. Thedas is a land of fierce diversity, from the assassin princes of Antiva to the fated griffins of the Anderfels. But in my travels, I have found one tale that unites the people of this land. It is a story of pride and damnation, and although the telling differs, the essence of the tale remains the same. At the height of its power, the Tevinter Imperium stretched over much of Thedas, uniting the unknown world under the rule of the tyrannical Magisters. It is said that the old gods whom the Magisters worshipped gave them the knowledge of blood magic, and the Magisters used this forbidden power to cement their rule. The blood of elven slaves and humans alike ran down imperial altars to fuel Magister greed. The tales of their excess is so horrifying that one can only be grateful that blood magic is prohibited today. But all that stands tall must eventually fall. Perhaps they foresaw their ruin, or perhaps their pride knew no bounds. But whatever the reason, the Magisters dared to open a magical portal into the Golden City at the heart of the Fade. They sought to usurp the Maker's throne, long left unattended in the Golden City after the Maker turned his back on his creations. They would storm heaven itself with their power and become as gods. This is what the Chantry, in its oft exercised tendency to understate, refers to as the second sin. According to most versions of the tale, the Magisters did indeed reach the Golden City and walked into the home of the Maker, where no living being before them had dared or been able to tread. But humanity is not meant to walk in heaven. The Magisters were wicked with pride and other sins, and their presence tainted the Golden City. What once was a perfect, holy citadel became a twisted home of darkness and nightmares. The Magisters were expelled back through the gateway and cursed for their treachery. As the Golden City had been tainted, so were the Magisters twisted and transformed into things of darkness, the very first of the Darkspawn. The Golden City, once a shining beacon at the heart of the Fade, became the Black City. a reminder of all that man's pride has cost. And this is from Tales of the Destruction of Thetis by Brother Genitivi, a Chantry scholar. And I think that's a really important story to remember throughout all of the games. Alright, we don't need to read the controls because you're watching me do it. And let's see, quest related. A letter from the Blackstone Irregulars. So this is the group that we got some jobs from. A letter written in careful script addressed to you. To the inimitable Grey Warden, your deeds have spread since the tragedy of Ostagar, and I find myself in need of one such as you. I am Raelnor, captain of the venerable Blackstone Irregulars, and I hope to win your trust. The Irregulars have come on hard times since the war with Orlais, but I have fought to improve their reputation. Gone are the days of my father's shady deals with unscrupulous nobles in Denerim. No, I have trained a guild filled with honorable men ready to fight for Ferelden, and I am proud to say that I have seen your own Grey Wardens as a sort of model. We are not perfect. My own son advocates a move back to the more lucrative way my father ran the guild, but we are steadfast. In this context that I ask for your help, and I promise we will reward you accordingly. Should you be willing, please find letters in this box and others like it all over the land, and carry out the request therein. For this matter, consider requests from my son as if they came from myself. And thank you again from the bottom of my heart, whether you choose to assist us or not. You are doing the Maker's work, Warden, and I am honored to work with you. From Raelnor. This letter is marked with the seal of the Blackstone Irregulars. Alright. And Blackstone Letter of Conscription. So this is the letter that we're handing out to the people that we're looking for. We handed one out already to Pater Gritch in the Chantry in Lothering. Dear friend, you are receiving this letter because you or someone else placed your name on an article of conscription, thereby pledging your life to the Blackstone Irregulars. With war looming on all fronts, the Irregulars must build their numbers. We are forced to call upon those who have sworn their assistance to make good on those oaths. Say farewell to your friends and family. While you may return to them, you must prepare them for the possibility that this will be your last day together. Your sacrifice is appreciated. From Tauren. This letter is marked with the seal of the Blackstone Irregulars. Alright, and lastly, Maleficarum Regrets. We just picked this up right when we left Lothering, as we were fighting the Darkspawn near those two dwarves. Alright, I won't go back. Let them hunt and dread finding me, but you, Melis, should not live this life. It would please me if you found a life in the Circle Tower. I left a few things there, mostly stolen from the enchanters. Sell them to fund a new path. The cash is in the study area, middle alcove. Goodbye. From Bel Gruce. Alright, so he is a Maleficarum, which is a blood mage, and he doesn't want to go back to the circle, but he did leave a cache that we might be able to find. Alright, so that's it for the Codex video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was enlightening. It was for me. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!